Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's episode of Care Sandwich. I have a co founder of a family law firm that's going to join me here in a second. But first, check out this video so you can remember what Care Sandwich is all about.
Welcome to Care Sandwich, the podcast where we dive into the success journeys of law firm owners across the country. I'm Margarita Eberline, your host and the founder of Marketing Boss, a fractional chief marketing officer firm for law firms. On this show, we'll explore the challenges, strategies, and victories that have shaped law firms and how they wrap every interaction with care. Because we believe that caring isn't just a value, it's a strategy for success. So grab your favorite sandwich, sit back, and let's dig into a conversation filled with insight, inspiration, and of course, a lot of care.
Hello. So today we're going to talk about family law. Kiki, welcome to the virtual stage.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here with you.
So where are you joining us from and what do you do?
Well, I am in sunny Central Florida. We are based in also Jacksonville and Lakeland, and we happen to be in the Orlando area. It's cold. We had a big cold snap again, so this is good. I'm not sweating. It's not 90 degrees from here until November. And so my husband and I have a family law firm. We specialize in family law. So we're talking about divorce and paternity and post-judgment things. And it's called Leapfrog Divorce. And if you're wondering about the words leapfrog, that refers to a business term about doing something a little bit better, leaping over the competition and recreating a new process or a new ethos for how to deliver services.
I love it. And you do have a very unique brand. Many law firms will name the law firm, around the founders' names. And I really like the creative approach that you've taken. Very thoughtful. Walk us through, what is your philosophy behind what divorce can mean, or really family law, anything to do with family law, whether that's custody and all the other things that it encompasses. What is your philosophy behind how it can be done better?
Well, as people who have been divorced as well. So AJ, my husband, has been divorced. I've been through divorce. In fact, our other two associate attorneys have also been divorced. We understand how it can be done poorly and how it can be done well. I was fortunate to have an amicable divorce, but some of the other people in our team haven't had it. And even though my divorce was amicable, it was hard. It was hard on the heart, not physical heart, but the emotional heart. And I've used that occurrence in my life as a springboard for my evolution as a person. And so I believe that these big life events, while so totally hard, I never want to sugarcoat somebody's suffering, or say, well, at least blah, 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 or, look at all the good things. And we can take the suffering that we're in, and we can use that as, I guess, if you want to get real gardening based about it, you can use it as the compost to grow something new in your life, right?
Yeah. I'm chuckling because I don't know, I feel like my life is a movie sometimes. I caught up with a friend of mine that I hadn't talked to in years. She's a professor at a university. We went to high school together, and it was like forever. And she didn't know that I was divorced. Mm-hmm. And she paused and was like, I'm sorry, like question mark. And I was like, oh no, it's congratulations. And she's like, oh, okay. And like I feel like that's kind of like when I think about you and your brand and what I know about your firm and how you and your husband are, you focus on what's next. Like what are the possibilities, right? I feel like family law and transitions like that, many people think about it in terms of it's this thing I'm trying to get away from, or it's this uncomfortable situation that I want to get a hold of, right? Again, whether that's custody or the actual separation process. But I think one thing that I appreciate is because you, or maybe because you all have been through it, you know that like, hey, what do you actually want to build, and then reverse engineer your decisions that you're going to make right now to get excited about that. So walk us
Yeah.
through how does that look in a firm like yours?
Well, because we're really intentional about who we hire and making sure that they have this same focus approach and this same trauma sensitive approach, because we know that divorce can be really traumatizing. It's akin to a death. And so we treat it as such if that's what the client is experiencing. And so
Mhm.
we try to help people first feel safe with us, because as we know, when if somebody doesn't feel safe in a relationship, uh, this isn't going to work real well. And so we want them to understand that we can provide an ear for them. We provide empathy for them. We're not going to try to sugarcoat what they're going through. We're going to move through it with empathy and provide ideas for possibilities for how they can move through this in a way that is hopefully going to mitigate trauma to them and mitigate trauma to the children. And of course, if there are children involved, let's try to figure out how to move through this in a way where you can still have somewhat of a co-parenting relationship. And if that's not going to work, we'll go from there and help you become a good parallel parent.
And moving forward with these processes, I think like if I compare family law to like personal injury, it's not a no-brainer,
Hmm.
right? Like if you get
Right.
rear-ended, it's a no-brainer that you want to hire an attorney and you want to move forward because you've been injured. That just makes sense. When it comes to family law, I think that there are instances where maybe you made a decision, but not really. It's still like an idea, right? Like, do I want to take that
Right.
next step of asking for full custody? Do I want to take that next step of, filing for a divorce? And you've developed resources to help people actually think through that. Can you walk us through some of those resources that you've created? Because it's not like people are going to call you and going to be like, oh, yeah, sounds great. Sounds like you should get a divorce. Let's get started.
Well, absolutely, absolutely. So we have a free asset called the Divorce Journey, which lays out what it's going to look like. For those of you who are already in a post judgment situation, in your co-parenting, we have that co-parenting asset. I say asset. This is something that is free to anyone who wants it, that can just help people navigate this stuff. We also have a really beautiful library of videos on our YouTube channel that can help people understand in a short amount of time the overview, like the 30,000-foot overview of gosh, how do we calculate child support? Um, what does parenting time look like in the state of Florida? Uh,
Mhm.
what's my exposure in terms of alimony? So there's a we really view education as one of those elements that can help provide people a felt sense of safety, because we know from our own experience that quite often some of the scariest things about a journey are really the unknown parts. And so what we like to say is that we're all little flashlights in this tunnel that you may be in, and we're helping point you toward the end with the knowledge that we can provide to you.
And another theme that also I notice in your space is the theme of, when's it so bad that I really want to deal with the threats? So I'll give you an example of what I see in your space, where it's like, say a business owner, a CEO, like myself, right?
Mm-hmm.
Get to a point where you already know that, and the other person has threatened X, Y, and Z. And in the back of your head, you're like, ugh, like, do I really want to get into this fight right now? I'm in the middle of going to,
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting ready for a trip. I'm getting, ready to make these
Yeah.
moves. Like, what would be your advice, either as a legal professional, law firm owner, or just as a human, of how to like navigate that? And then are there common myths or things that people might get threatened with that maybe are not as bad? Like, if you leave me, I'll take the kids,
Right.
things, because you weren't around, you were always working.
Right. So I think that the first thing that you talked about, and if I'm picking up what you're putting down, I think that you're talking about choosing what you're engaging with.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So somebody makes a threat. The first thing that you want to ask yourself is, do I even need to engage with this? Because I think for those of us, and I think, Margarita, I think that you and I are spicy ladies. I think we can be pretty spicy. And I think that we're fighters, and so I think I'm just speaking for just what we know of each other. I have the moment where there are flames.
Yeah.
Yes, it's the flames, and you just envision the scorched earth, because that's, you just want to take them down. And
reading my
often, quite often that's not the best approach. Quite often we understand that we understand later on that wasn't the best approach if we take that approach, and it inflames things. A lot of times people in these kinds of situations, I always think about these relationships as a dance, right? And whether you're going through the dance in the relationship, and then you're kind of still continuing some sort of like dance and during the divorce or at a post judgment, a lot of times it's people just trying to engage in the old behavior patterns that they were engaging with before. And at that point, it's your choice. And I go back to the Bill, Eddie, Biff method: the brief, informative, friendly, and firm. His advice, when you get the snarky text or the voicemail messages, do I need to respond to this at all? Does this have something? Do I need to take action on this, like, because this has something to do with the kids? Do I need to take action on this because it has something to do with the divorce? Or is this is the person just, repeat yourself, engaging in old behavioral patterns to try to get me to engage in mine? Right?
Yeah, that method actually was a lifesaver for me. Now that you're describing, and I think what I'm hearing is, if somebody's listening to this and they're thinking, do I investigate? Do I move forward when I'm dealing with a person that does X, Y, and Z? Do I really want to deal with that? I think what I'm hearing is there are tools that you can apply in any situation to really protect yourself emotionally, and they're communication tools, legal tools. I think that's great. And how about the common threats? I think, part where I see a lot of, and this is just me thinking about calls that I listen to when we do intake audits for family law, right? The hesitation is, well, she said if I leave, she's going to just take the kids because I work too much. Walk us through some of those common myths, because you and I know that that's not how it goes. Like, that's not how it works.
Hey there, I hope you're enjoying the conversation and your sandwich as much as we are. I want to take a moment to share a few words about our sponsor, Marketing Boss. If you're a law firm owner looking to supercharge your growth, our team at Marketing Boss is here to help. We've got over a decade of experience and a proven track record, and we specialize in growing law firms like yours with data-driven marketing leadership. So if you own a law firm and you're ready to get a predictable, steady flow of cases from your marketing, let's connect at marketing-boss.com.
No, it isn't. And I think for those who've seen the old movies, I think that's where that comes from, right? She left with the kids. I only get to see them once a month. And that one really breaks my heart because, geez, those kids are precious and they are a part of someone's heart. And when somebody threatens something like that, that's like punching them in the heart. It's absolutely, to my mind, despicable. It's bad behavior all around. Can you tell I get really angry about that one?
Yep.
And
Yeah,
the good news, well, the good news is that the state of Florida, even before the 50-50 presumption for time sharing, for those of you who don't know Florida law, time sharing is overnights with the children. It's not about anything having to do with like a condo on the beach.
you don't get a condo on the beach.
Even before that, the Florida statutes had some really therapeutic, it still does have therapeutic language within it. And, talking about both parents, they want both parents to share in the joys of parenting. And so this whole thing about, well, you never did it before, you've been working too much, and so you don't have time to be a parent. So I'm taking the kids and I'm going to get sole custody, which is a whole other thing. Parental responsibility and time sharing are two different things. And I'm going to get 100% overnights. It's very rare. I saw it once. Okay. I saw it once, and the husband, not our client, was in jail for felony assault on his wife. He will be in jail for the next 12 years because of what he did to her. And that is the only time that I have ever seen a parent get sole custody and 100% overnights. Notwithstanding when maybe somebody has just is not there, right? Like they're living in another country. They've just abandoned everything. They're off off the radar. But no, so take heart if that's happened to you. That only in the most egregious forms of child abuse and spousal abuse have I ever seen that happen.
And I'll add, I've heard this mostly from professional men, but I think it's becoming more and more common with professional women that even without the threat, you might doubt your ability to manage. And I think that, and this is something that I appreciate about your brand and the whole idea of, hey, you're building something new, right? Example A, busy CEO, running a business, traveling, you're thinking about, well, what's my life going to be like if I'm now a single parent, right? Even if it's 50-50, 1 week on, 1 week off, or whatever the schedule is, how am I going to manage that? What I've seen and what I've even experienced myself is that just because it was hard before, or it's hard for you right now, doesn't mean it can't get easier. It's like weird. It's like more work, but it's easier because you're happier, you're healthier. And it's amazing what energy you have and reserves you have when you're not in an unhappy situation and in survival mode and dealing with drama. I can personally say that I'm more capable than I was before, by myself. So
I really love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. So what you had said about just because you weren't capable or you didn't think you were capable before doesn't mean that you can't build capacity. And that's the thing, especially when we have a situation where one parent is the breadwinner. Are we still calling people breadwinners? It's the main income earner. And then the other person is the stay-at-home parent. And you're right, I am seeing it more and more with women who are the main income earners, and the father or other parent is at home.
Mhm.
Uh, I think it's almost like gatekeeping, right? We talk about this idea of gatekeeping, and my undergrad students, apprised me of that term, and I did a little research on it. But I feel like that's what happens, and that's actually not a good thing to do to another human being. And for the parent who maybe hasn't been in the weeds with parenting, right? I haven't been going to the doctor's office, I haven't been, doing the parent teacher conferences and all that kind of stuff. Gosh, this is a lot. What am I going to do? Well, there are really good resources for that too. And one of the things, and I think specifically about schedule, because right, kids' schedules can be so very clogged. I think about really good apps like Our Family Wizard,
Mhm.
who that allows parents to communicate through Our Family Wizard, to have the schedule, to reimburse each other for these things. And so, yeah, you haven't been in the weeds, but guess what? You're going gardening now, and you're gonna get in those weeds, and you're gonna get familiar with them, and you're gonna hit your stride. And you're right, you're gonna have more energy because you're gonna be happier now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, it's not to belittle that it's hard, and and all of that,
Mhm.
but there's a light at the end here, that you can look forward to, starting over and building the life that you want. Can be so many things. Like, there's wonderful possibilities, not just negative ones. So, yeah. So,
Absolutely, and sometimes you have to dig around, right? And we talked about the compost, and that things grow from the I'll just say crap that you've been through, right?
yeah.
And sometimes you do have to be super intentional in crafting that new path. It has to
Mhm.
sometimes be a really conscious effort, especially if you're really super sad about the divorce. And so be gentle with yourself, take your time, and know that you have resources within you that perhaps in the old relationship were being covered over by maybe some unhealthy, dysfunctional patterns, that now that they're gone, you're gonna find new things within yourself, and find a new path. But again, it does take time. It's not going to happen overnight for everybody.
Yeah, and Kiki, you mentioned a couple of amazing resources. Can you walk us through how can people get in touch and find these resources on your website? How can they contact the law firm? And then definitely, if there are other attorneys that are outside your practice area that want to connect with you about referring folks to you, what's your contact info?
Oh, sure. Well, our website's probably the best place to go, and I see it on the banner below with the phone number. If you also go on to YouTube, and just put into your query window Leapfrog Divorce, you're going to find our channel there. And Margarita, if you'd like to, I don't know if you have some URLs that you can give folks, but I'd be happy to share the divorce journey URL asset and the co-parenting URL asset to folks. And yeah, there's a
We'll put
lot of
those
education. I'm sorry.
we'll put those in the description for sure, so you can
Okay,
get access to those. Mhm.
absolutely. Well, great. Yeah, visit
So,
us. Visit us on social. We're also on Instagram, and if you want to look me up on LinkedIn, I'm there too. I love my LinkedIn pals.
awesome. So, Kiki, I have one last question, and I went
Mhm.
way over time. I apologize, but I just love talking to you. What is your favorite sandwich? Because it is, after all, the Care Sandwich podcast. It's a judgment-free zone, so whatever you say, it's the right
All
answer.
right. Well, okay. So, guys, if I could eat gluten and if I could have dairy, this is my imaginary favorite sandwich. I
How do you
would
have
have
joy
like,
or
huh?
dairy? How do you
I have
have
no
joy?
gluten or dairy. Um, it would be like sourdough, like fresh sourdough with like three kinds of really fine cheese grilled. like maybe like a brie, maybe like, I don't know, just like European cheese of some sort on really good bread.
So just the two things that you can't have. That's it. Just together.
That's okay. That's really okay. Look, my tummy thanks me, and I can
Sounds
imagine
good.
that beautiful sandwich in my mind.
I love it. Well, I'll taste it with you.
All
I'm not
right.
I don't have a lot of gluten either, but yeah, this is great. So there you have it, folks. Do your research, think through your options, and focus on what you're wanting to achieve, the life you're wanting to build when it comes to family law, and go ahead and count on these resources. They'll be linked below. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Care Sandwich. We'll see you on the next one.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Care Sandwich. Remember, the way we care for our clients, our teams, and ourselves can make all the difference in our success. Until next time, keep caring, keep growing, and I'll see you on the next episode of Care Sandwich.